Mountain athletes, good morning. I'm Anthony LaRubio, the founder and head coach here at Recal Training. High five for showing up on a Monday morning. I have a super fun guided training session for you today. This is the last installment of our BASE foundation. We're moving on to the E in BASE, which stands for elevate your performance. So today's session is all about integrating your breathwork training into improved performance. That means doing breathwork to improve recovery, maybe after a tough workout, or how to breathe more optimally and efficiently when you're climbing a mountain, running in an ultra race, whatever it is, all the things that your training now enables you to do when you're out there on the mountain. Just to back it up, though, as a reminder, BASE stands for all the areas that we focus on in our breathwork training programs. B, better breathing mechanics. A, adaptation protocols. S, strengthen your respiratory muscles. And E, elevate your performance. These principles are what we've used to help hundreds of athletes climb some of the highest mountains in the world and finish the most challenging ultra marathons. So get yourself ready to elevate your performance in the next 25-ish minutes with me. We'll begin today's session in a seated position as we always do. And don't worry about grabbing any other equipment for today, just a seat to sit in at the beginning and a place to lie down on the ground, maybe at the end, will be sufficient. Okay, let's begin from that seated position as we always do with the nose unblocking exercise. So, with me, go ahead and take a breath in through the nose. And then a normal breath out. Pinch your nose and hold your breath. And you're just gently nodding your head up and down. This is going to help unblock your nose. As we always do, we're going to breathe strong through our nose for today's session. Stick with it for 3, 2, 1. Release your nose, breathe in through the nose. If that was too long of a breath hold, you can shorten that up a bit. I want you to reach like a medium level of air hunger during these short breath holds after exhale. Take another breath in, breath out. Pinch your nose, hold your breath. Gently rock your head back and forth, up and down. Reaching that medium level of air hunger. Maybe that's in 3 seconds, 2, and 1. Release your nose, breathe in again. Through that nose, we're bringing in nasal nitric oxide that helps to dilate the blood vessels, helps gas exchange into the bloodstream as well. And it also helps to uptick that CO2 in the blood, which dilates the blood vessels as well. Let's take another breath in through the nose and out. Pinch the nose, hold the breath, gently nod your head. Just nodding up and down. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Release, breathe in. Maybe you notice more moisture in the nose. Again, we're just clearing that out. So that is the nose unblocking exercise. All right, let's move on to something called NSL breathing. That stands for nose, slow, and low. The reason why we're doing this, again, this is all related to how do we elevate our performance, whether that's on the mountain, off the mountain, whatever it is that you're trying to elevate your performance for. NSL stands for nose, slow, and low, as in the lower part of our lungs. This is the type of breathing that's going to help you maximize your efficiency as well as your oxygen uptake. So, from a seated position, let's breathe through the nose, let's breathe slow and breathe low. How I want you to do this is by simply taking your hands, cup them around your rib cage, relax your shoulders. We're going to spend the next minute or so simply breathing through the nose. Breathe slow, slower than you normally probably do. And then breathe low. Why we have our hands here on the rib cage is I want you to feel the expansion and contraction of the rib cage. As you breathe in, feel the expansion of the rib cage outward, forward, 360 degrees around. And as you exhale, feel that rib cage contract back down toward the spine, inward toward the core center of your body. Breathe through the nose. Feel the air enter the nose. Breathe slow. Again, most likely slower than you normally breathe. An average human today breathes maybe 15, 18 breaths per minute, something in that range. Believe it or not, the most efficient breath rate that you could do for maximum oxygen uptake is, drum roll please, I don't know how that sounded through the microphone, 6 breaths per minute at rest, that is, of course. Try to breathe every 5 seconds on an inhale, 5 seconds on an exhale. That would be 6 breaths per minute. Inhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That would be a solid breathing rate when you're at rest. When you're seated, when you're recovering, if you're on the mountain and you're acclimatizing, you're just at base camp, you're seated. Okay. Now we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to take the NSL concept and we're going to apply it to movement. So go ahead and stand up from that seat. We're going to do NSL breathing while running in place. So hopefully you've already maintained that muscle memory of breathing through the nose, breathing slow, breathing low. We're going to do it while running in place. We're going to go for about a minute here. So with me, everybody now, I'm going to actually grab a timer and you're going to be able to see what a minute on the time actually looks like. Reset. All right. Okay, there's our timer. Everybody ready now? Focus on the breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and we begin. Just running in place, breathing through the nose, breathing slow, and maybe you can remember what it feels like to breathe low. Try to engage your diaphragm with each and every breath. We're halfway there. You might start to get that feeling of air hunger, that feeling like you're running out of breath. Try to maintain this NSL breathing rate. Maybe you're coming into one last breath in and out for 3, 2, 1, and stop. We're going to recover for the next minute or so. Go ahead and shake things out. Integrating in our breathwork training on the mountain itself. If at any point in time you're feeling really out of breath, you just can't catch your breath, try a simple breathing protocol called the physiological sigh. So with me, take an inhale through your nose, pause for just a moment, sniff in again, exhale through your mouth. Let's do another one. Inhale, pause, sniff, exhale. One more time. Inhale, pause, sniff, exhale. That is the single quickest way for you to offload that carbon dioxide that's making you feel out of breath. That way we can regain control of our breathing and be able to keep NSL when we're moving and training and working hard on the mountain. Let's go one more time. NSL breathing from a running in place standpoint. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Focus all of your attention on your breathing. Breathe through the nose. Feel the air pass through into your lungs slowly. Feel that rib cage expand as you breathe low into the lungs. The bottom branches of your bronchi, branches 17 through 23 specifically, is where nearly 70% of the gas exchange happens. That's diffusion of oxygen into your bloodstream. We want to get air low into the lungs with each and every breath. 10 more seconds. Coming into your last breath. Exhale it out. 3, 2, 1, and stop, relax. Come back to that NSL breathing rate. Woo! All right. Once again, if you reached a level of air hunger while doing that, that simply is an indicator that the carbon dioxide levels inside your blood went up. That causes the pH of your blood to go down, which causes the chemoreceptors in your brainstem that are reading the cerebral spinal fluid, CSF fluid. It's reading the pH of that. As the pH goes down, it starts to shout at you. The shouting at you is that stressful feeling of air hunger, right? During breathwork training, we can train your CO2 tolerance so that you start to feel less out of breath, even at higher and higher and higher and higher levels of intensity. So NSL breathing is how we integrate breathwork training into regular fitness training. All right. We are all done with NSL breathing. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. We're going to move on to something called calm breathing. This is yet again another acronym that we introduce when it comes to integrating your breathwork training on the mountain itself. Calm breathing is simple. It stands for C, control the exhale. A, activate your diaphragm. L, lower your breathing rate. And M, move mindfully. Whenever somebody asks me, how should I breathe on the mountain? So basically we're taking our breathwork training and then we're going somewhere out there. How should I actually breathe? The best way that I advise people to breathe when they're on the mountain is thinking of calm. It's also kind of nice, obviously, because it means calm. It's enabling people that are climbing, doing really stressful stuff out there on the mountain to think, okay, calm, breathe, calm. So what we're going to do now from a standing position, we're going to breathe in through the nose. And then what you're going to do is control the exhale. You can do this in two ways. Either we just simply slow down that exhale, because when we exhale, it sends the message to the body to calm down. This is a very useful way. If we extend the exhales, this is a very useful way for us to be able to calm down the body and get ourselves out of hyperventilation, which is a common thing, especially when we are in hypoxic conditions at high altitude. We can start to hyperventilate, potentially uncontrollably. If we can calm the exhale and relax on the exhale, we can get out of hyperventilation. The second way that I want you to think of controlling the exhale is by doing pressure breathing, which simply means purse your lips, blow out like you're blowing through a straw against the resistance of this smaller hole that you're forming with those pursed lips. That's going to help to increase your blood oxygen saturation levels. It's called PEEP, positive end expiratory pressure. This is actually a way for us to increase our SpO2 levels on the mountain. So what we're doing now is controlling the exhale. So after you inhale, control the exhale. Either go slow or purse your lips and breathe like you're breathing out of a straw. Really push down into that abdomen space, squeeze that exhale out of your lungs. Let's take one more breath like that. Inhale. Purse your lips. If you're doing this with me, press the air out. All right, cool. The second part of calm is the A, activate the diaphragm. This is more on the inhale. So go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose. Feel that diaphragm flatten out as you create space for your lungs to fill up. And now control the exhale on the way out. Take an inhale. Feel the diaphragm work. Expand the lungs. Exhale. Control the exhale. We're doing the C and A of calm. Take another inhale. Activate the diaphragm. Now control the exhale. One last time. Inhale. Activate the diaphragm. Exhale. Control. Nice. Let's move on to the L. Lower the rate. Let's inhale on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and control the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, activate the diaphragm. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, controlled through pursed lips. 3, 2, 1. Last time. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. We lowered the rate to about 6 breaths per minute there. Last thing is we're going to move mindfully. We're going to bring this all together now. Begin walking in place. Notice the body moving. Notice where your feet are being placed, especially on tricky footing on the mountain. You always want to know where your feet are going, in particular if you're wearing crampons. Once again, inhale, activate the diaphragm. 3, 2, 1. Control the exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Putting it all together once again. Inhale. Activate the diaphragm. We're lowering the rate. Exhale. Control it through pursed lips. Pressure breathing. This is your last breath. Inhale. And exhale. Noticing how you're moving mindfully. And stop. Take a few normal breaths just to come back to normal breathing. Hopefully you enjoyed that sequential way for us to be able to, number one, identify all the components of calm breathing and then put it into action with that little demo. All right, let's move on now to something called recovery breathing. This breathing protocol is great if you're recovering from a really tough workout and you want to maximize the oxygen uptake and get it into the muscles so that it can help those muscles recover. But it's also a useful recovery breathing protocol if you're on the mountain itself and you're in the acclimatization process. Maybe you're rising up in altitude, you're hiking high, sleeping low. When you come back down from any sort of acclimatization hike of some kind and you want to recover, this is the protocol for you. Recovery breathing can be broken into 2 parts. Number 1, you hyperventilate in a controlled way. That's taking simply deep breaths, probably deeper and faster than you normally would. That's going to help you uptick your saturation levels of oxygen in the blood. We're going to do a few rounds of this deep breathing. Then, after doing a few rounds of that deep breathing, you're going to slow down your breathing rate, doing something called breathe light. This is going to help you move that oxygen from the bloodstream and into the muscle tissue. This is something called the Bohr effect, which simply means that in order for the hemoglobin in your red blood cells to release the oxygen into the tissue that requires it in that moment, and in this case, we're trying to target obviously our muscle tissue, but it can be organ tissue, whatever tissue requires oxygen in that moment. A lower pH is actually helpful for the hemoglobin to release that oxygen molecule. This is something called an oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. Lower pH will assist with that. And if we slow down our breathing, we're able to cause carbon dioxide levels to rise in the blood. That's going to drop the pH of the blood and allow oxygen to hop off of the hemoglobin and again into that muscle tissue, organ tissue that needs it most. So it's very simple. We controlled hyperventilate. That brings our blood oxygen saturation levels up. And then we slow down the breathing rate and allow the oxygen to get out of the blood and into the muscle tissue. This is recovery breathing. I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen so that I can demo this. I want you to do this on the ground. So actually you're laying down on a yoga mat of some kind for this. So give me 1 second. I'm going to switch my camera and microphone configuration. Okay, so you should hopefully be down on the ground on a yoga mat. We're going to lay down. If you prefer, you can keep your knees at like a 90-degree angle. This will help to decrease some of the pressure on your lower back when you're breathing. I invite you to take one hand, place it up on your chest, one hand on your belly. That way we can mechanically do these controlled hyperventilation breaths um, more mechanically efficient and appropriate. So go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose. Fill up your belly first. So you're going to feel that hand on your belly rise. Continue your inhale into your chest. Exhale through your mouth. This is called the breath wave. It's a wave like motion. So inhale, fill up the belly. Now your chest. Exhale through your mouth. Deeply in. Belly. Chest. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through the nose. Fill up the belly. Now the chest. Exhale through your mouth. We're going to do 5 more. 4 more. 3 more breaths. 2 more. Last one. Deeply in. Let it go. Now relax your arms to your sides. You might feel lightheaded here after doing some controlled hyperventilation. That's what happens when we throw off the biochemistry of the blood by offloading all that carbon dioxide very quickly. We are now going to do breathe light. We're going to slow down the breathing rate, cause the carbon dioxide levels to climb back up in the blood. So go ahead and concentrate on the breath as it moves in and out through your nose. And I want you to take your pointer finger, place it just beneath your nose, resting on your upper lip. Relax your shoulder to your side and take a breath in and just feel the air coming in. And as you exhale, feel the breath coming out through your nose and across your finger on the way out. When you breathe in, maybe you notice some cooler air coming in. And as you breathe out, maybe you notice warmer, more moist coming back out across your finger. Now, what I want you to do is start to slow down your breathing, so much so to the point that you can barely feel the air as it runs across your finger on the way in and then back out across your finger on the way out. You're still taking somewhat normal volume of air with each and every breath. You're just slowing down the pace of breathing. And with this is probably going to do, maybe you feel this already, it's starting to invite this feeling of air hunger, that feeling like you need to take a much bigger breath, right? The body is telling you, let's offload carbon dioxide more quickly now. But stick with it with this air hunger for the next 30 seconds, maybe even a minute. What this air hunger is signaling is that, again, carbon dioxide levels are higher in the blood. This is causing the pH to drop, which then is allowing oxygen to hop off of the hemoglobin in the red blood cells and into that muscle tissue. So this is, again, spiking your recovery. Stay here for the next 30 seconds. If at any point in time your breathing becomes erratic and you can't control it, take a couple of normal breaths and then drop back into slow breathing. 15 more seconds. This should be uncomfortable but bearable. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and relax now. That, my friends, is recovery breathing. We're at 26 minutes. So that means that we need to sign off here, as I promised, about a 25-ish minute training session. If you want to, you can obviously continue with your recovery breathing and maybe do another round of that controlled hyperventilation and then drop into breathe light. Or you can go ahead and wrap up with me now. Hopefully, that was even like a meditative way for us to end today's session. Again, we broke down what exactly the E in base stands for: elevate your performance. This is all about integrating the breathwork training protocols that we learn in training, from better breathing mechanics to adaptation protocols to strengthening your respiratory muscles. How do we take all of that and apply it on the mountain itself? This is what the E is all about. I want to thank you all so much for joining me for today's breathwork training session. As always, my name is Anthony LaRubio, the founder here at Recal Training. If you have high ambitions, unintended, on the mountain, and you want to achieve great things on the mountain, it starts with better breathing. And this is what we coach here at Recal Training. If you haven't already, please do go ahead and check out all of our training programs, starting from the self-guided programs to the online training programs and courses that we host on Basecamp, which is our community platform for all of our athletes, and all the way up to personalized coaching programs from me in particular, or any of our breathwork training coaches. Thank you so much again for joining today's free guided session, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday. Take care, everybody.